So let's take a little bit and talk about what is Copilot in sales. Okay, so just to clarify, there are a lot of different Copilots. Copilot in sales is the free Copilot that basically comes with Dynamics, right? So you actually should have this and can use this for free inside of Copilot. There's another one. It's a little bit confusing. There's Copilot for sales. That's something completely different. But we're talking here about Copilot in sales, right? All right, and what it is, it's an AI assistant in Dynamics 365 sales, which enhances productivity by offering a chat interface for sellers utilizing natural language or set prompts. What does that basically mean? Basically means you can just talk to this this AI, right? Ask it for things like, can you help me compose this email? Right, and it will, like, you can give it like your email and it'll help you compose it, make it nicer, make it sound more professional, etc. Give you record summarizations, like if you're on an account and you say, give me an account summary, it should give you a summary of the account. Information assistance, pulling information from Dynamics 365 and SharePoint. Meeting preparation, like, so if you have a meeting coming up, it can pull all that together and summarize it for you. It's a really, really good and helpful tool. You should see it kind of as a tool to basically speed up the processes. I use this all the time to help me compose support emails. I basically write the email out and then have this look at it and basically kind of rewrite it. And it takes it just a few seconds. So it does help a lot, helps speed up my process a whole lot, right? So let's talk about here. Oh, I'm sorry. Lastly, the most important thing that you can also do with this now is you can also generate documents. So I forgot about that part. It's very important because that's what we're kind of doing here today. So let's talk a little bit about how this works. So there's three main components involved in this, right? Number one, which you may not be familiar with, is Copilot Studio. Okay. That's where we're going to, let's see here. Well, let me just talk about this. So Copilot Studio, Power Automate, which you're familiar with, and the DocumentsCorePack connector, which you're probably familiar with. Okay, all these three things combined are what we're going to use to make this whole thing work, right? So the first thing we're going to do in Copilot Studio, we're going to create a topic, so like a create document that triggers a Power Automate and flow, right? From there, Copilot Studios is going to basically run this flow, and that flow, we're going to send it the record ID to the DocumentsCorePack connector, right? So with the DocumentsCorePack connector, you're able to generate documents and do everything the DocumentsCorePack does. It's going to create that document and generate the document, okay? Then we have the flow back where it returns that document to the flow. So the generated document is returned to the flow, which then returns it to Copilot. And the Copilot agent is then going to display the generated document, okay? So it's 5 easy steps, right? I'm going to take you through each one of those and kind of show it to you and kind of show you how to set this up, okay? So for our live demo, we're going to generate an invoice via Copilot Sales. And then I'm going to go show you a step-by-step to configure a topic and how to set up a flow that communicates with Copilot, okay? So let me move on over to my demo system here. So the first thing basically that I'm going to do with the demo is just kind of show you exactly kind of what it looks like here. I'm on my invoices here, right? I have my Copilot open here. If you're not familiar with it, this little piece right here, if you have it in Dynamics 365, you just click that, it opens up Copilot. And let's say I'm here, I'm looking at all my invoices and I want to create a invoice, right? So I just want to tell it to create an invoice. So Copilot thinks about it for a second. It lets me know that, hey, I'm not on the invoice record. Please open up an invoice that you need for your document and retry. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I want this particular one. This is the one I was going to create an invoice for. So I need to be on the record here. So I can tell it again to create an invoice, or I could do, this is something that you can set up again on your own. Usually these three things are here: get info, ask questions, stay ahead. This is a nice little prompt guide, which helps you, like, say, if you want to ask a question, what's new with my sales record, etc. Here we've kind of added this. Won't be something we'll go over today, but we'll also include Dion's article on this about how she sets this whole thing up here. So here I want to create an invoice document. What it does is it fills out that prompt for me. I just hit enter here, and Copilot is actually working on that, right? So it's taking that information in the background. It's basically running the flow, which is triggering DocumentsCorePack to create that document. And here any second now, basically what it's going to do is it's going to return my document for me. So sure thing, here's your document. If I click that to open it up, I can see my document right there. Again, this is a real simple example of what you can do with this, okay? So let's see exactly how we can do that, say, for example, on a quote, right? So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and go into Copilot Studios. When you come into Copilot Studios, this is exactly what you're going to see. The main thing that we are concerned with here are our agents, right? So on our agents here, we have a whole list of different agents that we can pick from, right? What we are interested in is the Sales Copilot Power Virtual Agents bot. So we'll go ahead and click on that, right? Now it's going to take us over to our agent here. A whole bunch of things across the top here, overview knowledge. What we're mostly interested in here is our topics, okay, and our actions, right? So the different actions. So as far as topics go, let's say I want to create a new topic for the quote, right? What I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a new topic from blank, okay? So this is what I'm presented with. So if you have created flows and so like, use Power Automate and creative flows, this is very similar. The whole setup is very similar, just a couple other little things that you need to watch out for, right? So the first thing that's going to happen is our trigger. And what this trigger is it's looking for phrases, right? So I'm looking for actual like keywords. So I want to go ahead and edit this. And let's say here, we'll just look for create a quote. Oh, wait, let me spell this right. Here you quote document, right? So this would be something that someone might type in, right? So create a quote document. I can add that. I can then add more, right? So like create a quote, right? Someone might type that in, right? You can catch all these different phrases and everything like that. So basically what this is doing is as you're typing in Copilot, or as you're asking Copilot things or doing things, basically what this is doing is it's actually looking for these phrases, right? It's looking for these phrases, and this will make this particular agent run, okay? So once I'm done with that, there's a couple things that I need to do. First of all, I need to make sure that they are actually on a quote record, number one. And I also want to make sure that that the quote record has a GUID, right? So a GUID. The GUID is very important because I pass that GUID from Copilot to Flow in order for DocumentsCorePack to actually know what record to create the document for, right? So here I want to set up a condition. So I'm going to go ahead and add a condition here. And this is pretty simple, right? It breaks it off into two branches. The first thing I want to do is select a variable here. Now, this gets kind of dicey here. So what I want to do here is search for context ID GUID. And what that's going to do is going to bring me right to this thing here that's actually going to pull from the page. It's going to pull the GUID. It's going to pull that GUID for me, right? So I want to go ahead and put that in, and then I want to make sure that it is not blank, right? Okay, so make sure it's not blank. So I actually have a GUID. Next, I want to make sure that they are on a quote record. So I'm going to again select a variable here, and my search term that I found makes it very easy is context.entityTypeName. So it's actually going to look at Copilot's going to look at the page we're on and tell me, hey, this is a quote. Hey, this is an invoice, right? So that's exactly what I'm checking for. So that's exactly what this does. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to say is equal to, I'm going to say quote, right? So now what I've done here is, so I'm looking here, my condition is that I have a GUID that is not blank or contains data, and I have an entity type name that is quote, right? For everything else, it's going to come over here to all other conditions, and what I can do here, just to give some feedback to the user, I can send a message, and I can say, for example, this is not a quote. Okay? That's all I have to do. I am done with this branch. Now, once I've established that, the next thing I want to do is I want to run an action, right? So I have to set up an action, right? So the first thing I want to go ahead and do is I'm going to save this, and I'm going to call this, excuse me, quote demo, right? So I'll go ahead and save. The name of my topic here, it takes just a second for it to save. I hope. Usually you get a little spinny thing. There we go. Good. Got the spinny thing. Thank you. This is all saved, right? So now what I need to do is come over here to actions and create an action for this. You can actually pre-configure your actions, right? And then call them. So but I kind of want to show you the order that it goes in, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a new action, right? And so it's going to be a new action. And you can see I have several different things of actions that I can add. So for me, I'm going to add a new Power Automate and Flow. So I go ahead and select that. It automatically takes me into Power Automate and sets up a generic flow for me, right? So the first thing you want to do is relabel this thing. Right? So I'll just call this quote demo flow. Okay. So we already have two steps in here. We have a run flow from Copilot and respond to Copilot. So this, basically what this holds is this is information that the agent is going to be passing to the flow. And as I said before, again, it's really important that you have the GUID. It's important that we get the GUID because DocumentsCorePack depends on the GUID of the record in order to create that document. So what we want to do is in here, we want to add an input, and it's going to be a text, and you can label this the record ID, right? And this is basically all that we need. So, oh wait, what? Did I do that right? Oh no, it did the whole, hold on. Let me copy this and do this right. There we go, record ID, okay? That's all I need to do right here. Great, so when I look at this here, I've got a record ID. That's what I'm expecting from Copilot, right? So now that I have this record ID, I can call my DocumentsCorePack action. So I'm going to add an action here, and let's see here. It's documents DocumentsCorePack, right? And here I want to see more. And the action that I want to pick is the create document sync, right? So I'm going to add that in there. I'm going to choose a template. Make sure it is, all your templates. Oops, it's not the template that I wanted. Make sure we're going to scroll on down to our quote templates, right? And we are going to take a quote. Let's see. Let's just take this one right here. Quote grouping with discounts. Okay. So now I need to provide it with the row ID or the GUID of the record that I'm running this against, right? So how do I do that, right? So here I just click in here, I hit a backslash, and then insert dynamic content. I scroll down to here, I look at this run flow from Copilot. I'm going to pick here the record ID, okay? File type is as usual, usually people want a PDF. Right, and then let's see, I'm going to get rid of that. And then what I want to do is I also want to save it to SharePoint. All right. Once I have saved to SharePoint, I'm going to save to SharePoint. Yes, I want to save it to SharePoint. This is all I have to do. So the four little steps is your template, the record ID, right, that I need, the file type, and I'm saving it to SharePoint. Okay. So once I'm done with that. Now I need to return a couple things to Copilot, right? So I want it to return two things. I want it to return the SharePoint URL so I can download the document, and I want it to, because that URL is such a long string and everything like that, I'm also going to include the file name as well, so I can actually use that, so it makes it look a lot prettier, right? So here I'm going to add an input. I'm going to add a text, and it is the document URL here, right? That's the thing that I'm going to add, and then I'm going to add another output, which is going to be the file name. Okay, so the file name. So here I have to actually add values that I want it to respond with, right? So what I'm going to do here, let me just do the file name because that's actually the easiest one. Let me go here. It's dynamic content. I scroll down to my DocumentsCorePack action here, and I'm just going to take the body file name here. Here it's a little bit different. The way that, so if I look at this, the way that it's stored here, let's see, we can look at this. We have the SharePoint URL is actually stored in the return value to of this action, okay? It actually does it in plain text, right? It's not encoded, right? So we need to encode it. So basically what that means is, like, if I have a space in, say, like a file name or something like that, it's actually going to show the space instead of the actual encoding of %20. So I need to manipulate that. And how I do that is I do a expression, right? And I want to replace, right? And then my parentheses, and then I'm going to go ahead and grab that return value 2, paste that in there for me. So with the replace, I need to, what the first value is, right? And the second value, oh, come on. What just happened? Just messed up. Let me do this again. Replace, right? And then that, dynamic content, come down to here, see more. Return value 2, and let me not go in there. So I need a comma, right? So it tells you exactly what you need for that. So the first thing is a space, right? So single quotes, space. I'm replacing that with a %20, right? Easy enough. And then I just say add. Done. So it is returning to me the encoded URL string, and it's going to return the file name for me. So here I want to save this as a draft, right? And once this is then saved, I will go ahead and publish this. All right. So that being said, that is pretty much it. Really, really simple flow. Really, really easy to do. Of course, naturally with flow, you can expand on this as much as you want, do as much as you want with it. You can pass whatever you want from Copilot to it, right? Should be good to go. So let's head on back over to here and let's refresh real quick. Maybe it did this very, very quickly. Maybe not. Maybe I might have to be talking through this a little bit. But let's go ahead and see. It sure loves to take its time sometimes. Maybe I can. I don't want to, like, it spins around and everything like that. Sometimes you get impatient and you want to go ahead and keep on going, but that sometimes will mess it up. But let's just mess it up. Let's see if I can do like this. There we go. So here's my action, right? I've created this action, the quote demo flow, right? That's exactly what I wanted. So now I should be able to refresh, and then I should see this on second actions. So I'll add an action here, right? And I can just go over here to flow, and hopefully this, again, I should have gone ahead and picked it on the first first time around. Wait, what happened? Flow, create demo flow. I'm going to go ahead and add that action to this so it knows that it can do that. And again, you can have many actions, right? So one thing that I really need to do, one thing that's very, very important here is you can see in my flow, when I did the record ID, I didn't give it any values or anything like that. And here's where I kind of set those values, right? So as I'm adding this, I go to my inputs, right? I select the record ID. And how do you want the agent to fill out this input? This is very, very important. We want to do a value, right? And the value that we're choosing is, again, we are searching for that that context, the context ID.id.guid, and we're passing the actual GUID. So that is how we actually will pass that information to our flow. So once we're done there, this is exactly so what it's sending, what it's getting back. Of course, you know, you can rename stuff, do whatever here. So I'm going to go ahead and add this action. This just takes just a couple of seconds here to do it. So great, good deal. So I have that here in my action. So now I can go back to my topic, right? And it's this particular topic right here. All right. So here, once I'm down to here, now let's go ahead and add this action. So we're going to add an action. It's an action, and I should have my action here listed. So demo flow, right? It pulls that information all in for me. Everything's selected. Everything's coming back as it should, right? Last but not least, the thing that I want to do now that the flow has run, I've received the URL for the SharePoint URL where the document's located and the file name. I want to send a message to the user, right? Basically saying, here is your document. Am I spelling it? Document, all right? And so here we're going to do a little PowerFX expression here. Basically, I'm going to copy and paste this, but I will explain it, right? Basically what we're doing here, it doesn't really sometimes like copy and paste. So make sure you do this. So file name, right? And then let's see, and the document URL. Basically, all this is doing is saying that I want to show the file name, and so it's like a link, right? Creating a link. So instead of you seeing the whole encoded URL, right? You're just basically seeing the file name that you can click on the link, and it's going to take you to that actual file. That's basically all this does. One other thing real quick that I do want to mention, this is probably one of those things that if you want to try it, you should probably wait till Monday to get the video so you can go ahead and try this along with me and pause the video, etc. But it should make it a lot easier. But here we go. That's basically all I need. Really super simple example here. I can save this, right? And then publish it. It does somewhat take a little bit of time to publish, right? So there's risks that should be reviewed, okay? So it's being published, but just to kind of show you, we have kind of, I've gone ahead and created like the same thing. So I can actually go over to my quote, right? Again, I can create quote, same kind of thing here. It's telling me it's not a quote, right? And let's go ahead and find an active quote here that I can do. Let's grab that one. Don't have a prompt for this, so that would be really cool. So I can preload it. Right. Or I can, create quote. Right. And then again, once again, it's working on it. So now it's actually going into that agent. That agent's responding to it, or an agent is responding to it, right? It's working on that. It's running that flow, and it's coming back with my quote document. So really, really super simple example on kind of how that all works together, right? So let's see here. That's pretty much concludes our demo. A couple things on the roadmap. Just kind of go back to this slide. What we are working on is being able to call the DocumentsCorePack actions directly in your agents. So you will no longer have to call a flow. You can run the DocumentsCorePack action straight from Copilot Studio, and that will be, save you a step. You can do that like right in there. So they're being worked on. Yeah, and look for further information on that as it becomes available. So that's that's pretty exciting. Saving a step is always good. Just real quick, want to mention here everything that I've shown today. If you are a DocumentsCorePack customer, you can do this right now. If you're not a DocumentsCorePack customer, free trials are available for every single one of our add-ons. There's no functionality limitations. So basically everything that I've shown today, you can do. You can get a trial. You can do this right now. It's fully supported. If you have any problems or anything like that, you can contact us at support@mscrm-addons.com. We'll get you set up and running, or we'll try to get you help. We'll help you get you set up and running. And if you have any problems, and it takes roughly around 30 minutes to get started. I think it's actually quicker than that, but we just say the 30 minutes shouldn't take you that long. Thanks everybody.